first episode of our teenaging podcast. My name is Nikki and I'm joined today by
Rihanna
and
Sarah.
Your trip in Tasmania, Sarah.
It was rigorous to say the least. We spent like 5 days there and we expected like the rooms to be a lot better than it was. Actually, I didn't even have a room. I slept on the couch. Okay.
Humbling experience.
Oh,
yeah.
was it those pull-out couches that had the
No,
bed?
sweetie, it was a normal couch. Okay, my back literally became like,
Oh my god, first
a
world
worm.
problem. You don't have a place to sleep.
Imagine like you're sleeping and like a cockroach comes out of the crack
Dude,
and like
I
goes
was
in your
so
mouth.
scared about that. I
Oh my
was
god, that happened
so
to me once.
scared.
It was on my face. Like I
Oh
woke
my
up, little cockroach on my face. You know, I was calm because like in Vietnam, I'm so used to having cockroaches and like rats and like unsanitary households. So yeah, I'm used to it now. Same with my house now. They are still cockroaches.
I can't deal with it. Like the second, like if I actually whenever I leave my house, right, like without my dad there, I'm literally gonna cry whenever I see like a cricket or a cockroach. I was so proud the other day. Like I saw a fat cricket in my room and I killed it myself. Like that was
Really?
that was a big defining moment for me. I was like, I don't usually do these things. I was probably like my 5th cricket. So like I was
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of glamorization with the Tasmania trip. All my photos are gonna be like, having so much fun. And then like,
I'm definitely not
Go
breaking my
sleep
back
on
on
the
the couch.
yeah,
you
and then
know?
like in reality on this podcast, like I slept on the couch for 5 days. Like, you know, it was so cold. The heater barely worked. It was like
really?
it's freezing. It was Tasmania is a lot colder than I thought it was gonna be. Like it's like actually like it's colder.
Yes,
Like,
it's like next to the North Pole.
Is it?
oh my Rihanna. Rihanna. So wait. So Tasmania's next to the North Pole.
Oh, shut up.
Rihanna. Okay, so what we know.
Our 73
No.
followers are all judging me now.
No, so what we know now is that Rihanna wasn't good at geography.
Shut up. Yeah, I got like a D. No, go C. Sorry.
Wow. See? Rihanna, you're so smart.
I know.
It's okay. C is like sound. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I was listening to a podcast the other day and it was like, oh, like I'm a pretty good student. I get like mostly B's, and I was like, oh my god, why am I judging them? I'm such an ethnic person. I was like, why am I doing that?
I'm so judgmental of other people.
Wow,
No.
so every time I say I got a B, you
No,
guys
no,
judge
no,
me.
no, no.
That's how it
Your
is.
friends. It's different.
Wow.
Fuck, I'm such a bad
Speaking
person.
of judgment, today we wanted to like talk about judgment and gossip within
Yeah.
high school.
Whoa, segue!
Are we too loud?
No,
No, we'll just edit it.
Everybody listen, like, you're too loud.
Everybody listening takes their earphones out. Like,
They
oh my
take
God.
the earphones out, but they keep it into the
Yeah.
jacket.
Yeah.
Listen to it from like a meter away.
Our 10 listeners.
It's not even 10. It's like one dedicated listener. It's just us
Yeah.
all together.
We're all just streaming it on Spotify. Judgment.
Judgment. Toxicity in high school.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to high school, you like from primary school to high school, it's such a huge leap. I think it's like such a different environment. Like when I look at like primary school, I know for some people like they prefer like the calmness of primary school. I
Yeah.
think people were less judgmental then, I guess, because everybody was a kid and like people were like their biggest worry was like, you know, can I color in within the lines? Like I think we had like 2 assessments. In the whole year, and it was like a novel study. You could have
Yeah.
faked it. Yeah.
100%.
I remember when I did like the novel studies, like I wouldn't even read the book. I would just act like I did, and I got like the top mark.
Oh,
Sorry. Actually, Susanna and I did. Susanna and I actually helped each other in the novel studies.
Oh, really?
On in like term 4, and we both like got the same mark. I was so proud of us. I love her. Love you, girl. Anyways, so we're gonna be talking about a bit about like labels when it comes to like gossip and toxicity in high school. I think that when you get into high school, it's like this thing where like everybody's like analyzing each other, like sizing them up, and we become like very critical of one another. I think like first impressions especially, they're hard. And I think like we all have different perspectives on this, but Nikki and I are like on the other side of the spectrum where it's like our first impressions with other people, they're often like, oh, you know, she's like, you know, a bitch.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, they get that a lot. Where, like, Rihanna's kind of, like, on the opposite side, where it's, like, you know, like, everybody's like, oh my god, she's so sweet. Which it is. Like, she
She's super
is.
sweet.
Rihanna's really sweet. So, like, yeah.
Oh, you're complimenting me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we're doing it.
Rihanna's like, what are you talking about? I'm still talking about Antarctica and Tasmania.
But I think Sarah and I were often misunderstood because of our...
Because you guys are a bitch. No, I'm kidding.
Because, yeah, no, it's because, like, we have an like, assertive exterior that sometimes is misunderstood for being bitchy or being mean. And part of it's true.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, part of it is true.
But, yeah, it's just, yeah. But
It's not 100% me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you just get to know me, you'll find the real me.
Yeah, a lot of, like, a lot of the closest friends I have, like, on the first impressions of me when, like, they first met me, they were all like, oh, well, I thought you were a bitch. Like, before I even talked to them.
I thought you were a bitch.
Yeah, I know. Nikki did, like, another friend we had did. And, like, a lot of people, before I even talked to them, and the thing is, like, with, like, one of my other, like, close friends, before I even said anything, I was just sitting down doing my work. Like, she was like, oh, I thought you were, like, a bitch. And I was like, I don't even know where I get that from, because I'm like, is it my exterior? But I'm like, I don't think, like, I think I just have, like, a resting bitch face. I don't really know where I get, like, where people get that.
I just think they're quite
Like,
judgmental.
Yeah, so I don't quite understand where to go with that, but I think I've learned over time, especially when, like, I moved schools away from, like, these people, because we all used to go to the same school, and when I moved, I was like, oh, you know, I can get a new start, and, you know, people won't think I'm a bitch or whatever, and I tried it for so long, but people still, like, that's their immediate reaction. It's like, oh, she's a bitch, before I even said anything or opened my mouth, which I guess, like, throughout the year, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna deal with that anymore, and I was just, like, completely authentic, and finally, when I started to be myself, like, I was just happy, and I stopped caring about, like, oh my god, did you hear she called you a bitch, and he called you a bitch, and blah, 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 blah. I think that we often get wrapped up in, what everybody has to say in high school, and we start to kind of, like, lose our path and what, like, our main goal is, and I guess my thing now is that if it doesn't affect me in 3 to 5 years, then I'm not going to give it any of my attention. So it's like, you know, I think I did a little bit of that even when I was in primary school, when we had, like, fights about, like, 4-leaf clovers. Yeah, because I used to pick out too many 4-leaf clovers.
Oh my god, literally hated Sarah in primary school.
Yeah, like, people got really mad that I would pick out all the 4-leaf clovers.
Right.
I don't know. They were sad they couldn't have any 4-leaf
And it's like primary school, like you try
it's
exaggerate
overpetty.
every little thing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
oh
not
my
very
god,
pretty.
she took all the 4-leaf clovers.
Oh my
Like,
God.
girl, we had a whole field.
Yeah.
But I think from that, I was like, okay, you know, 3 to 5 years, if it's not going to affect me, and if it's not, like, drilling into, like, my mental health, then it shouldn't be something that I put my attention to or make it seem bigger than it is. So now, whenever there is, like, gossip and, like, rumors about me, I really do think to myself, like, is this going to affect my future? Is it going to be something that, you know, hurts me every day when I come to school? Will it make me not want to come to school? And if it does make you feel that way, then, you know, you have to deal with it, and, like, don't, like, start to, like, spread rumors yourself and be like, he said, she said. But, you know, deal with it in, like, a mature way. You know, go talk to a teacher or somebody that you trust. Like, have it be done in a way where you're not spreading any more rumors, you're just stopping them. That's your only objective. So, yeah.
We don't fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
But I think because, like, in high school, we're becoming a lot more self-conscious.
Yeah.
And I think that comes with this, like, unconscious bias with other people as well. We're a lot more harsher, and we're just, I think, like, through that phase in high school, we're very judgmental of other people.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's most prevalent, like, in girls.
Yeah.
We're a lot more harsher and critical of girls, which is wrong, because we want to think that we have this sisterhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
want
we
to think
support
that-
each other. And...
Yeah, like, you know, the feminism movement, we want to think that we're supporting girls, ladies supporting each other. But in reality, like, double standards aren't only supported by men, it's also enforced by women. And I think that has really uprised rumours, like the issue of gossip and rumours and stuff as well.
Yeah. We had to talk about that. We had to talk about it in, I think it was year 8. We had that.
Oh, yeah.
And they separated the girls and boys. And the teachers, like, talked to us about, like, the whole rumours thing because somebody in our class was having an issue. And it was really affecting that person, and they went to a teacher because they couldn't handle it anymore. And once they did, after that, it did slowly, like, calm down because I think they realized that, like, you know, like, you're just gonna fuel the fire if you, like, you know, go back at it with, like, other rumors about the person, whoever's, like, spreading it about you. So once they actually did go tell a teacher, it really did calm down. And now that person, like, this year I look at them and they're so happy in their new friend group, and you can tell that, like, that did change them for the better, and they're so much happier because of it.
I think that the idea of going to a larger authority figure like a teacher is often seen as childish, or like, oh, you're such a child for doing that. Doesn't seem
or you're dramatic.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
You don't seem cool because you think you're a snitch. You think tattletale or something. Turtletail. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, I really don't like that idea because I feel like the bravest thing you could do is go to an adult and tell them, because obviously they're a lot more mature. They can solve it a lot better than you, because oftentimes, you know, the first, like, when people attack you or insult you in any way, your first instinct is to fight back, you know, to lash out. But that can't be helped. Like, anger, frustration, those are the first emotions that come to mind. But I think, you know, we have to be more mature than that in order to solve, like, friendship issues or any kind of toxicity that we face, because it's just, we just have to become a bigger person, take a step back and look at it like, oh, this person is perhaps something we should someone perhaps we should sympathize with almost, or compromise with, instead of, like, lashing out at them, because that person who attacked you or, like, insulted you is a lot more immature than you probably are. If you
you're, like, it would be much more mature from your like standpoint if you just went to authority instead of making it like a big thing that, you know, it just, like, I think sometimes when you take on issues by yourself and you don't accept help from, like, authority, it can get, like, out of control, and people can start twisting your words. So, you know, it's more morally just to, like, if it's getting to that point, like, if you can deal with it on your own and it's not something big, that's fine. But if it is getting to that point, you need to, you know, go to the authority. It's just better that way. And I think when it comes to, like, going to the authority and stuff like that, people think that it's, like, a cry for attention and, or, like, you're being dramatic and stuff like that. And the second you report someone, it's suddenly this thing where it's like, oh, you know, she's hypersensitive and stuff like that. And I understand where people come from with that, because, you know, I was afraid that, like, that's how I would be perceived if I did report someone, because I went through some stuff this, like, last year that I knew it was, like, bad enough that I had to report it, but I didn't want to make a big deal because I didn't want to seem, like, oversensitive and, like, a bitch, and I cared so much about other people's perceptions of me that it affected my own mental health. And I think that I had a friend who, she instilled in me that, like, you can't worry about what these people have to say because these people will not be affecting you if you stop it now. So she actually reported stuff for me because she knew that I was too scared to do that. And then I had to talk about it. And yeah, people did say stuff, but over the year, I think I realized that, you know, again with the thing, 3 to 5 years, will these people who call me a bitch affect me? No, I have my inner circle. I have friends that I trust and that care about me, and that's all I need. And going forward from that, we asked you guys to ask us some questions about our topic on toxicity, and gossip. So we had someone anonymously tell us that I've been sexually harassed by a classmate and I don't want to report him because I think all of his friends will stop talking to me and everyone will think I'm a snitch or desperate for attention.
What do you think, Rihanna? What about like the fear of confrontation? So like, I think judgment and gossip really enforce our fear of confrontation. Like the largest issue when we confront someone with something, or like an authority figure with our issues, we're always scared of judgment, we're always scared of what other people say. And that has always been like an obstacle that hinders like the way we resolve our issues and stuff.
I think with confrontation you also do a lot of overthinking of what the outcome is. So it's like, oh, if I tell them what he did, I'm gonna lose this person, it's gonna become awkward here, I'm not gonna enjoy class, all this, you think of all the outcomes and other people's feelings except for your own, and that just makes you feel so much more worse and like bad about the situation.
No, I understand what you're trying to say. Like I feel the same because I'm such an overthinker, so like before I say a lot of stuff I always prepare, like the book I have in front of me now. I don't know, I'm just maybe it's a habit, but I just really hate saying the wrong things in situations. Like I think about it at night for 3 hours, and I always try to prepare everything, and I overthink, and I like overthink about the consequences, and I always try to say exactly the right things, which is a lot of pressure, but you know, like I know what you're coming from, but I think it's important because right now overthinking is quite on the like negative end of the spectrum, the extreme end of the spectrum, and I think it's really beneficial to acknowledge the extreme positive side, and think about, say, what if it turns out well, you know, like what if this actually works out, what if our friendship becomes stronger, what if
he stops doing it to other girls,
exactly. And to recognize that point, you kind of like acknowledge two sides and stay neutral, and actually come back to reality, because overthinking in the extreme negative side could really like make your perception quite crooked and stuff like that. So
when it comes to sexual harassment, I really feel for this person. I understand how it feels sometimes. You're scared to report because you don't want to lose the other people around you. And I know sometimes it feels like, you know, people are going to call you names and they're going to have this like judgment of your character. But, you know, coming from like a place of experience, I know I was scared about the exact same thing when I went through it. And I don't place it like some trophy, like, oh my god, look, this happened to me. But like, you have to understand that if those people leave you because you report something that actually hurt you, something that makes you feel uncomfortable, then those people were not worth having in your life. You might have had good times with them, but it's not true friendship to leave someone when they're truly hurting, when something really did affect them. So it's better if you have them leave you now when you're in like, when it's like, it's basically like a test of friendship to see if people will really support you when you're really going through it, or if they were only there because you were just an addition to somebody else that they knew. And I know sometimes it's like this thing when you report, it's like, oh wow, you know, she's so stuck up, you know, she's so oversensitive, and I had that same thing. But you need to find someone, a friend that you are truly close with, and go with them to like a year advisor or a teacher, and you need to let them know, because it's important for your safety and for you to be comfortable at school. That's somewhere you always go 5 times a week. You need to be comfortable when you're learning, and that's something important to remember. I know that when like you report to teachers, sometimes you're uncomfortable to tell them, and that's why I think it's important to have someone that you trust. I had a friend with me when I had to go do it, and in honesty, she made me go do it. because I was so scared about like the repercussions, which is the thing that Rihanna and Nicki talked about. Overthinking. You always have these expectations of the absolute worst, and you can't always have that. And honestly, if those people leave you, then you will find friends that will be there to support you, because those people were obviously going to be a waste of your time if they were going to act like that during such a crucial moment.
Yeah.
And I think when, especially we're really vulnerable, or you know, we're really going through a lot of trouble, real friends really rise up to the occasion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because for people, you know, like, I think with sexual harassment especially, it occurs a lot more to girls than boys. And there's always like this stigma that surrounds reporting sexual harassment or talking about sexual harassment. There's this shame and guilt, and it's like, oh, maybe she's asking for it, or maybe, oh, like, she deserves it. But you know, like, that's the thing, you know, stigma is such, like, we're so afraid of that, and it's part of sexual harassment.
With the asking for it thing, I had like a counselor be like, oh, it's because he likes you. Don't let anybody tell you that. Don't let anybody tell you that. That is not acceptable in
your school counselor.
My school counselor was like, oh, it's because he likes you. Like, you can't have people tell you that. That's not an acceptable answer. Don't ever accept that and be like, oh yeah, that's true. Like, don't, because that is disgusting. And my final thing on that is, you absolutely should report it. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, that is something that is important to you. You need to report it. And don't be scared about losing those friends, because they obviously won't be worth it if they don't stick around. And if they do, you know that they are true friends and they will support you during hard times.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And reporting it is so right. It's like, it's the right thing to do, and to perceive it otherwise. That's just, it's damaging to tell your friends like, oh, you shouldn't report it because some dumb reason, like, oh, he likes you. You know?
I think that like comes from like a toxicity and like friends type of thing, where it's like they try to degrade whatever hurts you or anything that's important to you. They'll make fun of it. So I guess toxic friends are like a big part of high school. I think we all like will probably stumble across like a toxic friend in high school, and you know, groups of friends always shift and change within high school. You know, you'll have like somebody that you've known for ages, since like year 7, and you know, before you know it, you guys either just drift apart, or some type of inner turmoil or conflict happens, and you guys, you know, stop being friends. And I think that's normal. But when it comes to like toxic friends, people, you know, you walk away whenever you have like a conversation from them feeling bad about yourself, or worse than you did coming in. So I think that like, especially in year 9, I think people start to realize like these are the people I actually care about, and like these are the friends. Because I think in year 7 we all try to be like friends with each other, like oh my god, I need to have all these friends. We're in like a new environment.
We want to live up to the stereotype of like having so many guy friends, so many girlfriends, and like
but I think as you grow up, you start to realize like, hey, like I've got 6 years and I'm not going to have an environment like this anymore. Whether, even if you go to uni and TAFE and stuff like that, you're not going to have the same environment that you had in high school. So you start to realize, like, what's important to me? Who are my, like, true support systems? And where do I go from there? I think that's important. We had someone ask us about a similar question to this. They said, I don't enjoy being in my friend group as much as I did in year 7 and year 8. Maybe we just weren't meant to be in the same friend group. Our personalities have clashed. It's harder to talk about things during lunch. There's a pair of friends that always leave us behind. I noticed that another friend is more happy being with other friends in certain classes. I no longer feel happy to be a part of the group anymore. And I miss my bubbly personality. So I feel like I should hang out with other friends, but I don't want to intrude. I just don't know what to do, and I don't know how to voice my opinion on matters like these, because I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm no good. Please give me advice.
Baby. I want to give her a hug. What do you think, Rihanna? Like, I know you're a type of person that is like a bit afraid to speak up, and that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're scared of how people will react, and that's totally understandable.
Especially now, because I feel like it's like the middle of high school. Everyone has like their permanent friend groups. Everyone's like really close with each other, inside jokes and everything. And for like a new person to like come in, like you being the new person coming into like an already formed friend group is like really scary and intimidating.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, I feel so bad for that girl.
It's okay. It will get better. You just have to surround yourself with friends. You know what? I think just, okay, it's hard to say and it's cheesy, but being yourself attracts the right people.
Yeah.
Attracts the most compatible people with you.
100%.
And you know, I kind of know how she feels, because no offense, guys, I'm about to talk about something in year 7.
I already know where this is going.
So like transitioning from primary school to year 7, it was hard because primary school friendships, for me at least, were breaking apart. One girl that was part of our friendship, she moved to a different school. Another girl, we're just not compatible anymore. And that's fine. Like, people change, we drift apart, we find new friends that we relate to more. Because high school is a learning curve, and you change dramatically in that period of time. So I get it, but you know, since like I started to realize that, you know, this is not really working out as in primary school, because I think in primary schools are kind of off track.
It's okay, don't worry.
But I think in primary school you just have very little like criteria for the right friends. Okay. You just have very little criteria for the right friends. And, you know, like, the thing is, you only need, like, someone who's nice, someone who's funny, you know. As you grow older, you realize you need someone
more emotionally and
someone who's more emotional, who can provide like that outlet for you, who's more perhaps intellectual, who's more understanding, who's more considerate. You need this kind of much more mature traits. But now in high school, things are different, and you just don't find that compatible anymore. So in year 7, I saw you guys as a friend group, and I, like, part of me, like, no, not part of me, I wanted to really join that friend group because you guys seemed cool, you guys had fun, I saw you talk. So slowly I started, like, going to your table, I started trying to talk to you guys. And I don't know what went through my head, but I like immediately thought that you guys had, okay, this is gonna sound bad, but you guys like had to cater for me or something, like be more considerate of my presence.
We had to think about what we're saying, like,
well, not in that aspect, but like
not make her feel like she's intruding.
Oh,
yeah, stuff like that. Be more inclusive. Because nothing wrong with what you guys did. You didn't do anything wrong, but you guys like would talk in like with each other only, and you wouldn't like talk to me or like the other friend that was with me when we joined. So I felt really excluded, and there was this biggest fear that I was intruding, and I dealt with it badly because I would like go, like, I remember I would go to Rihanna and I was like, oh my god, is
Sarah. It was Nikki came up to me and was like, oh, is Sarah like the leader of your group or something?
We have gotten this issue since we were in primary school.
And me and Susanna just like got so triggered because we hear it every day in primary school. Is Sarah your leader? Friend group leader?
Yeah, but I went to you guys and like I asked her, oh my god, is Sarah like kind of a bitch or something?
Oh yeah.
Because
and then I remember I literally went behind your back and told Sarah immediately.
Yeah. I don't know, I had the impression that
I was really surprised you told me that, considering we only talked for like a few times.
I don't remember us talking and Rihanna be like, did she really think that if she asked me a bitch that I wouldn't tell you? Because like, I've known Rihanna like forever, right? So she's like, did she really think I wasn't gonna tell Sarah? Like,
this is like me and Nikki's like beginning stage of friendship. She told me this.
Yeah.
So that's why
let
I
it be
backstabbed
known.
her.
Like, let it be known. If you say something bad about one of us, like we're very close and we're very open. I don't keep anything from them. So like, if somebody's like, oh my god, don't tell Rihanna. Like, isn't she such a bitch? I'm gonna be like, Rihanna?
I got gains. Meet me in the corner, bro.
Meet me in the corner, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but like for that period of time, I felt really excluded, and
Mhm.
I felt like I was intruding something because, like, I didn't want my own emotional, like, selfish desires to ruin your friendship, like the dynamic of your friendship.
Yeah.
Because you guys had a solid friendship at the time, and yeah, part of me didn't ruin that, but part of me wanted to join it as well. So I understand what the girl or the boy is saying in the anonymous message. Like, it's hard to, I guess, integrate into a new friendship when they've already established such a great bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can relate to that on the level, like, I moved away in year 9, and when you're new, you gotta, like, I didn't know anybody at the school. Well, I didn't think I did, because I hadn't connected with a lot of people that I knew from tutoring, brown tins. Yeah, I hadn't connected. So, when I went, I was fully expecting to, like, have to struggle out to find friend groups. And by year 9, it had been, like, 2 years of high school. And people already had their groups and they were well established. So, I knew it was going to be really hard. And, you know, I walked in on my first day into, like, the math classroom. And there wasn't even a teacher there. He had to go do something for the timetables or whatever. So I just walked into, like, a classroom full of students and one chair left for me. And it was so daunting. I remember that day so clearly. And I completely understand what this person is going through, where you're like, you don't want to intrude on anybody else's, like, group. Because, like, again, with what Nikki said, you don't want to, like, ruin the dynamic that they have and that they've established. But, I think the first, like, 2 terms of being at that school, I was so pressed about that and worried about ruining anything for them that I was so unhappy and miserable because I wasn't myself at all. Like, I would give them as generic answers to everything, and I was trying to be like a people pleaser, and it wasn't working. Like, I was so unhappy, and I think that they could definitely tell that, like, I wasn't great, right? And I would complain to, like, Rihanna all the time. I'd be like, oh my god, I hate this school. And, you know, I'm the type of person where I actually love school. I love going to school, and, you know, like, I've just always been, like, a school person. So when it got to the point where I was literally faking a rash on myself, one day I literally faked a rash so I wouldn't have to go to school because I hated going so much. Like, that's when I knew it was bad. And I think, when I finally started to be myself, and, like, Nikki, as cheesy as it says, as it is, as Nikki says, once you try to, like, you know, you start to be yourself, like, the right people gravitate towards you that connect with you. And once I started doing that, I did, like, I started to, like, really connect with my friends. And now, like, I hold them to such a high regard. I love them so much. And I love going to school. Like, I remember, like, the first couple days of, like, the summer holiday, I was like, I want to go back to school. Like, I went from not wanting to go at all, faking rashes, to, like, wanting to go to school so bad during the summer holidays. So, like, truly, what Nikki says is really important. And as cheesy as it is, you know, once you do be yourself, you do gravitate towards the right people. And they come towards you. And you start to build these relationships that are not toxic, where people do support one another. And whether you're alike your friends or you're different, like, it's more about, like, how much you can enjoy each other's company. Like, Rihanna and I are so different, whereas Nikki and I are a lot more similar. But I enjoy both of their companies so much in very different ways. And it's because we gravitate towards each other, and we have, like, a strong support system where I can tell them, like, whatever I want to, and I don't feel like I have to create some type of filter and walk on eggshells.
Or, like,
and
mask.
That's literally, like, the beginning of 2019, like, forming year 9 and year 10s together. I was like, oh my god, year 10s, I so imitate, I can't, like, be myself.
Wait, can I just say, we're the only school that mixes year 9 and 10.
Yeah, so the school...
I forgot about that.
We forgot about our shitty school.
Our school's too poor to afford classrooms.
Oh my god, I just realised that.
You know they moved our uniform shop because our school can't have a uniform shop anymore.
So now it's a classroom, and we have to go all the way to like another town to get our uniform.
Yeah, so their school now, the one that I used to go to, they do like year 9 and 10 together.
Oh.
Whereas every other school does year 9 by itself and year 10 by
well,
itself.
we're gonna move on from
That's
that.
their own personal adversity through that.
But like, yeah, when the year 10s came in, I was like, oh my god, they're so much higher, they're so much older. I have to be like less annoying and
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah. But then like after like the first term, I was like, I really can't do this anymore. I just like let myself go, and now I have like the 3 like closest year 10 friends. They know who they are.
Hell yeah.
Wait, do they? They know.
Yeah.
They're in my math class. If
So-
you're in my math class, you can. I got you, bro.
So, in consensus to the person who wrote this to us, I think our thing is like, be yourself and the right people will gravitate towards you. I know it's hard sometimes to leave the friend groups that we've established since year 7 because you feel kind of like obliged to like stay there because everybody's kind of established who their friend group is and what they're defined by.
Yeah.
But, you know, the right people will always be welcoming enough to let you in. I had a friend who had been in the school I go to now, like, since year 7, and she only joined our friend group now because she created a bond and a connection with me and some other girls in that group, and now she hangs out with us, like, all the time, and I love her company so much. So, again, it's that thing, be yourself and the right people will gravitate towards you.
And girl, that sometimes goes to Nikki and I's high school, bro. Come to our friend group.
to our friend
We
group,
have like
man.
what 3 new students in our friend group that came last year, so we're welcoming, bro. Come over.
So guys, how do you think, like, if you have an established friend group, how do you deal with someone that, not deal, but how do you welcome or how do you make it more inclusive for someone who just entered? Like, what are the ways we can make sure?
I think just like
Yeah,
I know it's like basic, but just breaking off common grounds, like just getting to know each other can literally lead you into so many great places. Like I think with you and me, like even like once we like got off that awkward friendship stage, like we like hit it off. And, like, you're like one of my closest friends now. So I think oh my god.
Nikki's sounding like a squirrel.
Yeah. Just breaking off that common ground, getting to know each other, dislikes and like anything like that. And just then getting
I think the little things really, really makes the difference.
Yeah.
Like, for a friend group, like you welcome them to the lunch table. You know, add them to a group project. When they come late to the lunch table, update them. Make space and update them on what you just said previously. So they can join in too. Just little things like that can make the real difference. Like maybe you're walking somewhere and you wait for them while they tie their shoelaces.
Yeah.
Or like you see them go to the bubble of the toilet and they didn't ask because they don't want to be like annoying, but you go with them anyway.
Yeah. You go with them to the canteen without them buying you anything.
Yeah.
Unconditional canteen walks.
We all need an unconditional canteen pair, a squad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going
Go with
alone.
them to the toilet. You know?
Yeah.
Wait in front of their store. Just
Take off
stare
their
at them.
pants for them.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Give them the toilet paper.
Sneak under. Wipe it for them.
Oh my god. We're such intellectual.
That girl that sent the thing is like clicking off the podcast.
Yeah, I'm done for today.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Just like being a nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
But also
like,
yourself.
I think those are the ways we can make someone feel a lot more included
I think
in
it's
social groups.
like for me, I think it was all about like the icebreakers. Like again, what you said.
Icebreakers, that's
Yeah.
I've been saying breaking common ground.
I thought that sounded good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Breaking common ground it is. Anyway, keep going.
Yes, because like I think after you like again what you said with like the awkward stuff like what's your name like what school did you go to like you know what I mean like after you get over that stuff and you start to talk about your interests and you know again being yourself expressing yourself you start to find maybe you guys are not exactly the same or similar in like interest but if they take care in what you're talking about and they do give it like love then you know that those are some good friends like I cannot draw at all like I have no talent in drawing the best I can do is like Microsoft Word paint make some stick figures. Nikki can draw. Nikki is very good at drawing And so whenever I see her post, I'm gonna comment on them. I'm gonna spam her comments.
Hype her up.
Because she deserves that. And I'm
It
so
means a
proud that
lot.
somebody like Nikki can draw. And you know what? Like, I'm not a little bit interested in like learning how to draw myself. Like, I just can't do it. Like, I'll try, but I can't. But I'm interested that Nikki can.
Yeah.
And like, I want to support her with that. And if you can find friends that at least support you at
For
the
our
very
class.
least, at the very least, then you know that you found those friends. Express yourself and get that support.
Sorry.
How do you express yourself when it's just, you're just surrounded by toxic friends, or the toxic friends are all you have? Like, how do you deal with that?
Hard one.
Yeah. I think Rihanna, when it comes to like expressing yourself, there was like a period of time, we're not gonna disclose that because it'll make it way too specific, but
Are you talking about me?
yeah.
Okay.
There was-
I see what you're doing.
there was a period of time where like Rihanna got like separated from like some of our friend groups, so she was left with some other people. And because when you're in class in like primary school, like that's the only class you got, like
Yeah.
you win or you lose. So you know there was like 2 times in Rihanna's life where she had to kind of deal with that, like you're surrounded by that person all the time, that's all you've got. So I think she had to kind of learn how to express herself and like get out that kind of confrontational side of her
Yeah.
that she doesn't kind of like to bring out.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with that?
It was really hard, and it also gets really like mentally draining having to deal with it every single day, and it's like the same thing. There's nothing being resolved. There's no agreement between you guys. But I think over time, when you know, oh, this is like getting out of hand, and I'm obviously not like gonna ask for help because it's not that big of a deal. You just sort of come to terms with it, which is a bad thing to do. Don't do that with your toxic friends. But when I first experienced a toxic friend, when it got into like I think end of the year, I sat down with her and I was like, hey, look, like, are we gonna continue being friends? Or are we just gonna like keep on with this toxic relationship because I don't want to be in it anymore? I wrote bad stuff about her in my diary. Anyway.
Get a journal, guys.
Yeah, journaling really helps.
Yeah.
Instead of lashing out on her, I wrote it in my journal in all caps. Anyway. So yeah, and we both sort of came to the realization that like, oh crap, we really need to move on. We need to mature. We're going into high school, blah, blah, blah. So if you just talk it out, say from both opinions, and really look from the other person's perspective and what they're coming from, it can really give you a better understanding on what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Keep an open mind.
Yeah. And being open-minded is very helpful during toxic friendships. But saying that doesn't mean you have to feel sorry for them every time they're rude to you and you stay in that friendship, because your feelings also matter.
Yeah.
And if you continue that thought process of, oh, she's probably struggling something, so I can't be rude to her back, or something like that, it's very mentally exhausting and not good for you at all.
Yeah, it's super unhealthy, and even though they might grow up in, let's say, a troubled household, or they might experience like really bad things that affect the way they talk to each other, and that's like the reason why they became so toxic. It doesn't excuse them for the things they did, and you have to talk to them about it. You have to say, like, look, like, you have so much potential to be a better person, and unless you get yourself together and actually treat me well, you know, perhaps we should put a pause on this friendship, or perhaps we shouldn't be friends, at least for now, until you become a better person.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't have bad intentions, and they could just let things like kind of inconsiderate things that slip or something, that poke at your fears or insecurities, which is bad, and you should confront them about it. But it's hard because it's the middle ground where it's not that big of a deal, but it still bothers you. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
That's like the most difficult part to get to.
like it's you think it's not enough to
Like
tell them about
them
it.
and
Yeah.
have a sit-down conversation with them.
Yeah, but it becomes mentally exhausting when it accumulates.
Yeah.
Like, they say little things that poke at you, but they
Over
constantly
time,
do
it
Yeah,
just
like,
builds up and up.
yeah, and that's the problem. Like, you know, you shouldn't have to wait for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them before, like, if they're a true friend, they'll fix themselves. Like, they'll say, okay, I'm sorry, I'll be more considerate of what I say, I'll think things through, because I don't want to hurt you. But, you know, if they do have bad intentions, and they are very toxic, and they do intentionally poke at your insecurities to put themselves on a pedestal,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to gather up that courage. But how? Like, the thing is, it's easy to say.
That's the thing,
yeah.
fear of
It's easier to say than
confrontation.
do.
So again, with that thing that we talked about before, about overthinking,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, always, like your expectation is always going to be, like, the worst of it. I know that sometimes it does end up that way, but even if it does end up that way, you gotta see it as, like, a coming to, like, age moment where you realize that, like, that was a part of your life that maybe you did enjoy, maybe you didn't, but you're better off without it, or in some cases where it does work out well, you've learnt from it and you guys are now more mature,
And you form a closer bond with that person.
yeah. So even, I know it can be really scary to talk to someone that you're really close with, or someone that's kind of got you in, like, in a guilt trip type of thing where it's like, you don't know what I'm going through, or you know exactly what I'm going through, so why can't you just deal with it?
Yeah.
You gotta be like, hey, you know, my feelings are valid as well. And don't yell at them, do it calmly, and trust me, it, like, if they do react bad, then you know that that's like a part of your life that you gotta move on from, and you will find those people that, again, be yourself, and they will gravitate towards you.
So, like, at the end of the day, your youth is limited. You know, spend it, like, we all want to grow up. We all, like, at 15 or, like, 12 years, we all want to say, oh my god, I can't wait to be 18, go out with my friends, drink, clubbing, whatever. But if you hear it from actual, like, adults, they'll tell you that, you know, value your youth, value your teenage years, because high school could be one of the greatest experiences of your life. Some people it's not, which is why I think it's really important to, if it's important to be able to create an environment yourself where you could express yourself, where you could where you feel comfortable talking to your friends and be vulnerable about things, because your youth is limited and you only have so much time in high school to enjoy it, so make it long lasting.
I just think high school is high school. It's a place for you to learn, become more mature, be responsible, know what you want, know what others need, and it's okay to make mistakes on the way and get into toxic friendships and all this, because you go so much stronger from it, you learn so much, and you can really use it in adult life. So
So I guess with this whole topic, I think, you know, we're so eager to, like, get into, like, the social aspect of high school and all the gossip and drama, but sometimes you need to take a step back and you look at everything you've done in retrospect, and trust me, when you come back at the end of the road, you're not gonna remember when he said, she said, you're gonna remember when you laughed with your friends, when, you know, that funny moment happened. So make sure that you make a lot of those, and you truly, you know, you want to look back and you want to be proud of the person you were. You know, someone that people can remember as a good person, because, you know, you want to show that you've matured over time, and you're not going to be the same person you were in primary school. So I guess that high school is really just, like, a test of who you are and how you can, like, get through some of the adversity that comes with it. So again, my thing that I've always gone by, and, you know, I'm getting better at, because I'm not always the best at it, is, you know, think about, will this matter in 3 to 5 years? Does this person affect my future? And if not, don't give it your effort. And if it does affect you, you know, handle it in a mature manner. And, you know, try and have fun. Because again, like Nikki said, you're in your youth. And it doesn't last that long.
Yeah.
And, sorry, I want to add something. I think it's important, if you are facing, like, a lot of toxic friends or toxicity in high school, it's important to expand your circle, like your social circle outside of school. So perhaps reconnect with people from primary school, join extracurricular activities, you know,
get a job, because that usually helps you. You're usually people like with people around your own age, or join a club, go online, but do it safely, obviously, because they're child pedophiles. I think it's also important to create your own happiness, because if you can't find happiness that easily at school, it's okay to do it in solitude. It's not, doesn't mean you have that lingering loneliness inside of you, but like for me at least, like I'm very introverted, so spending time with myself, like it's one of the most like valuable moments of my life. Just like going to the park by yourself, go read a book. Like maybe people can't relate to this, but if you can, like create your own happiness in that way. You know, like play you can play video games, you know, find a hobby. Like that's what I mean by creating your own happiness. Don't depend on other people to make you happy, because sometimes they can let you down. The only person that knows you any better is yourself, and you're the best soulmate you'll ever find once you start to understand.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to
Stop.
our first podcast episode.
That sounds so
to
surreal.
our 3 listeners. We're so...
Y'all the MVPs.
We love you. Stick around, okay? Maybe when we're 60, we'll still be making podcasts.
What about like in our nursery home? No, nursery home? Play bingo together.
Yeah.
That's cute.
I feel like the struggles of bingo. You overcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so
tuning
comment.
Yeah.
We need feedback.
And give us some feedback, and go on to our anonymous site to go, like, you know,
Give us some ideas for future topics.
Go on to our anonymous thing, so you guys can let us know some feedback or any questions you have on any new topics that we'll do. You guys can request other topics. To our 3 listeners, we love you. Thank you so much.
Love you.